Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Bluegrass 84 here at the Kentucky Speedway for the Next Gen Cup Thursday night series here with Doghouse Racing League. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you tonight's action in 1080p 60 frames a second. I hope you are all excited for some more great Next Gen Cup action that we have here with Doghouse tonight. 56 laps we are taking around Kentucky Speedway for a total of 84 miles here around the track. A mile and a half, nearly, that we're going to be looking at this track here. This very strange setup that we have here today, albeit not too strange if you are a NASCAR fan that has been around for a while. This is a setup that is we see quite often in a couple other different tracks, but we are here today and we are ready for tonight's action as drivers wrap up their practice for today and get ready for their qualifying. Drivers are only going to have 2 laps for their qualifying laps, so we are going to have a look at what some of these drivers are doing here as far as times and see what they can do here tonight. Looking up first, Leander Johnson in the number 32 machine. Going to be starting off his first timed, well, getting himself on the track, ready to start his first time lap. And James, yes it is. I made sure it is on. My esteemed colleague James in the chat reminding me that trading paints is a thing, as I had a little dilemma with that earlier last week. Now, currently looking at Leander Johnson, everyone else currently making their way out onto track as well. Randall Barnett, Nick Reynolds, Justin McMahon, Andrew Williams, Eddie Rivers. Basically the entire field at this point. Obviously, everyone only has 5 minutes to get themselves on track and get their time sorted out. So, everyone is going to have to make do of that time and get it out of the way as soon as possible. Right now, Leander Johnson looking rather comfortable out there at the moment. The first person to set a time. Now everyone's starting to set a time, actually. Leander Johnson actually setting the fastest time as he actually gets outlapped by William Gentry, now Eric Peck. The field slowly starting to work their way onto the timing tower and determining where they are going to place themselves on the starting grid for the feature race tonight. 56 laps here around Kentucky Speedway. Right now, a lot of these guys here have shown a lot of great talent throughout the season that we saw a little bit of last year, even though it doesn't seem like that long ago. And it's continued to play forward going into 2022. Now, this is only the second race, so I don't want to say too much, but everyone has looked very, very promising out here in Doghouse Racing League for the Next Gen Cup Thursday night series. Looking at Jonathan Jennings in the number 95 as he makes his second and final qualifying lap. Grid already starting to form its way very, very quickly. Dylan Hervatten taking first place at the moment, provisional pole. Kevin Thompson in second. Justin McMahon now actually being taken by Michael Schemia for third place. And I believe Michael Schemia actually making his second lap around the track as well. Going to wrap up his qualifying once he crosses the checkered line, and being in third place already, it's going to have a great start to this race, and hopefully it'll play forward going into this very short, but also, I would say, I don't want to say it's not the longest race in the world, but it's definitely long enough where you have to pay attention. You have to play your marks correctly and really put your foot down. And that is actually going to wrap up qualifying, as all of the drivers had made their way around the track at least 2 times. And so that is going to wrap up the qualifying for the moment. Brett McNamara actually making some laps around, but he has already completed his qualifying. He's going to find himself placed 24th on the grid. But once we have the official results available to us, once the official time has expired for their qualifying, then we will know who is officially starting where and how this race is going to play out. But right now, folks, it's looking like it's going to be quite exciting, if I do say so myself. With only just a few seconds left here to go in the session, or in the qualifying, I should say. And there it is. Brett McNamara being taken off the track to get ready for the official race. And here is your official lineup. Dylan Hervatin starting out in first place, with Michael Schemia out in second place, starting out in the first row. Kevin Thompson in third, with Justin McMahon in fourth on the second row. Jonathan Jennings in fifth, with Dustin Lee in sixth on the third row. Nick Reynolds in seventh place, and Jeff Martin in eighth in the fourth row. Christopher Simon in ninth place, and Wesley Whitfield in 10th place in your fifth row. Daniel Wilkerson in 11th. Marvel Spearman in 12th place, rounding out your sixth row. Eric Peck in 13th. Darrell Whiteside in 14th. On your 7th row, Andrew Corr in 15th, William Gentry in 16th, Andrew Pratt in 17th, Leander Johnson in 18th, Doug Solms in 19th, Eddie Rivers in 20th, Randall Barnett in 21st, Christopher Leftwich in 22nd, Andrew Williams in 23rd, Brett McNamara, geez, I am stuttering on my words today, I apologize, in 24th. Mike Leftwich in 25th, Adam Gardner in 26th, Chad Waller in 27th, and Michael Bowen rounding out the field in 28th. And my, oh my, I do have to say that this pit row is looking quite fantastic. If I do have to say so myself, it is quite great to see the field lined up like this as they get ready to start their way around the track for the first time with the pace car in tow. There you can see Dylan Hervatin starting things off, getting things ready to go. Formation lap has begun. We are going to get started here tonight. I hope everyone here is excited for the action here. I know that the official NASCAR season hasn't quite started yet, but if you are a die-hard NASCAR fan or just curious about NASCAR in general and have been kind of browsing around the internet lately and have seen some of the videos of NASCAR actually testing the next-gen cars at Daytona, and comparing it to what we see here in iRacing, I would say they nailed it. Pretty close on the head, I would have to say. iRacing doing an excellent job modeling these vehicles as close as possible. And the racing that we see is fairly close to what we see in real life. And it is great to see that these cars are bringing back and breathing a new life into the sport of NASCAR. And I have to say, it is exciting to be a part of it and to witness it and be here with Doghouse Racing League, experiencing it here with these guys here tonight. And we have the green flag flying for the first time, and here we go. Dylan Hervatin leading the field quite excellently right out in front as well. No one really chasing him down. Well, he's got drivers chasing him down, but at this point in time, he doesn't have a whole lot of competition to worry about. But even as I say that, Kevin Thompson in that 21 machine looking on the outside, trying to see if he can gain enough speed there to maybe get around that 45. But right now, Dylan doing great work, trying to get away from that field, just trying to see what he can possibly do here. Jonathan Jennings in the 95 in third place, just trailing behind these guys. He's kind of leading these guys all behind them in this kind of line as these two out in front sort of battle it out here. So I think these guys are going to do quite a bit of battling out here in the front, and we've seen that last week as well. And I'm not surprised to see it here. Last week at Daytona, we saw a lot of really tight, really compact racing, and it was really awesome to see. 100 miles at Daytona, it was very excellent. And here at Kentucky, it's going to be even more fantastic racing as we come down the back stretch, the only actual stretch of the track here tonight. So that's the really only spot that anyone's going to be able to gain any real speed and make anything happen here. Speaking of people making things happen, Nick Reynolds sneaking his way actually into third place around the 95 of Jonathan Jennings, and I actually was too busy babbling that I missed it up here in the booth. But right now it looks like Dylan Habat and Kevin Thompson both duking it out side by side right now coming down the back stretch. Dylan's got a little bit more speed, but it's not going to be quite enough here. Dylan's able to keep it out in front. Kevin Thompson still just trying to keep it up. He's just going to stay in that line, stay up on top. Dylan throwing it up there for just a second. Not sure if he was just trying to find the right spot on track to dip it down. Kevin Thompson looks like he got into the side of Nick Reynolds of the 54 there for just a second. These guys getting real close to one another, putting up some great battles. It's awesome to see. We got cars 2 wide, 3 wide, all over the track. It really just depends on where you're seeing. Looking at Dustin Lee in the number 18 machine down low, he's got, looks like the number 95, Jonathan Jennings, on his outside. Jonathan Jennings now down in 5th place where he started. So not really nothing gained, nothing lost, but Jonathan Jennings still putting up a good fight, just trying to keep up and stay in this pack. The number 9 of Jeff Martin as well, putting up a charge as he works his way up to the 18 of Dustin Lee, gets on his bumper. He's going to try and make a dive down on the bottom. Not quite enough speed. He lost quite a bit there. We got the 20 going a little sideways there for just a moment. The Justin McMahon involved in that for just a second, getting a little bit squirrely. Not sure exactly what the cause of that was. It looked like someone might have bumped into him. But Justin McMahon able to keep it together. We're still racing. We're still rocking and rolling here. Awesome to see everything going as fantastic as it is right now. Everyone doing an absolutely fantastic job. Michael Schemia actually working his way through the grid now. The number 1 machine down low on the inside of the 18 of Dustin Lee at this time. He's got a little bit of speed down there as well, but not going to be able to keep up with the 18 and the 95, both in that draft up there on top. They kind of break away from it. They're about to go 3 wide here for just a moment. Doing a great job holding it together here as they cross the checkered line. Lap 8 of 56. We're not even a quarter of the way through this race yet, and things are already looking absolutely great here up here in the booth, and I'm sure, I hope it is for everyone watching at home. Looking back up here, checking back in with our guys out in front. Dylan Hervatin in that 45 still leading this race. Still hasn't been dethroned yet, even with some of the pressure that he was starting to see. But it seems like that shaved off very quickly. A lot of these guys are battling very, very close to one another, even up here in the top 3. And as I'm starting to say that, the top 3 are starting to actually start to slowly get away from the rest of the pack here. They're going to start to form their own little 3-pack here and maybe even get away from the rest of the field here. We'll keep an eye on them. We'll see what happens and what develops here, but that's interesting to see, and you can even see Dustin Lee in that number 18 machine in 4th place, just kind of trailing right in the middle between these guys. It's almost like Dustin is just fast enough to stay within the tail of the draft of these 3 guys here out in the top 3. Dustin Lee going real wide there. Michael Schemia leading the rest of this field here, so to speak, from 5th place at the moment in that number 1 machine, with Jonathan Jennings right behind him, almost on his tail. Jonathan looking down low, going to see if he can make something happen here. Jonathan, he's going to have to get a little bit more speed here. He's got a little bit of support from Jeff Martin right behind him in the number 9 machine, giving him a little bit of draft, but not going to be enough. Jonathan Jennings rejoins that line with the number 1 of Michael Schemia, but that leaves the door open for Jeff Martin. They go sideways, both of these guys. Jonathan Jennings, oh, he's able to stay out of it, though. He's going to recover from that. Jeff Martin, I believe that was Jeff Martin, if I'm not mistaken. But they're able to keep together. We're still green. We're still racing. Everything is looking absolutely fantastic on this track right now. These guys are racing pedal to the metal, and it's absolutely great to see here. Well, right now we're looking at Jeff Martin in the number 9 machine as we were talking about him, and now that I recall, I do think that was Jeff that got involved in that incident. You can see there, right on his passenger side, the front of his tire and around the fender there, it's all kinds of bent up, and that's definitely going to have a little bit of hindrance on the aero of the car, but he's still up there. He's in 7th place currently. He's still duking it out. Right now he's got, I believe, Darrell Whiteside in the 33 right behind him on his tail. Darrell Whiteside trying to find any spot that he can get, but right now he's got to gain back the distance that he lost now. But Andrew Pratt, that 75, looking on the outside. Both of these guys are both duking it out for 6th place at this point, and seeing who can kind of lead this field here to catch up to the guys that have started to get away. We're going 3 wide here. Oh, Darrell Whiteside looking very interesting there from that camera angle there for just a second. That was looking almost spicy for just a second, but Jeff Martin still here battling it out with Andrew Pratt. Almost still side by side, really. We're going to ride on board here with Andrew Pratt for just a moment. Actually, you know what? Let's take things back here to Justin McMahon in the number 20 machine and just have a look at what's exactly happening here for these guys racing in these packs like this. It is absolutely incredible to see. And just listening to the throttle input, there is almost no let up except coming into here to turn 1, just to let the car sort of let it get into that corner as we get a little bit of bumping and grinding happening out in front with Jeff Martin and Darrell Whiteside getting a little bit close to one another, bumping doors for just a second, but we're still racing, we're still green. Everyone's 3 wide. Look at this field, absolutely beautiful to see. And like I was saying earlier, folks, if you've seen any of the videos that I mentioned earlier, if you've seen any of the content that NASCAR has put out about, oh, we're crashing in the back of the field. Oh, man, Andrew Cora looks like he was involved. More cars getting involved as well. The yellow flag is flying. Oh, there is carnage absolutely everywhere. William Gentry looks like he's going to be involved in this incident. I'm not exactly sure who starts it. You can see there someone getting a little loose up there in front. Let's have a look here and see if we can have a better look at what happens. Now, we're looking here at William Gentry in the 34. They make contact just in front of them. And it looks like everyone's trying to check up, trying to avoid. More cars getting involved. The 16 getting involved as well. 57. Looks like the 07 as well of Wesley Whitfield. Also getting in that one as well. So one small incident just evolved, just spinning into a multitude of other incidents, and ultimately putting a lot of the rest of the field at risk of being put out of the race, unfortunately. if their car suffers too much damage. And that might likely be the case for some of these drivers here. Definitely don't want to see that happen. It's unfortunate to see drivers being put out of a race because of an incident. I mean, everyone wants to finish a race, but it doesn't always work out that way. But that's racing. That's how things happen. It's not always perfect, and it's, well, frankly, I don't think if there was these kind of incidents, I don't know if anyone would want to watch racing. So, well. But in other news, the field is going to get itself lined back up here and get itself ready to go for another attempt here at Kentucky Speedway for the Bluegrass 84. So we are on lap 19 of 56. Only our first caution of the night as well. I gotta say, it's been thrilling to watch these guys race. So far, everyone is racing very, very well, as clean as possible. A little bumping and grinding here and there, but as I said before, that's racing, and I love to see it. These guys are not afraid to get into one another, within reason, of course. When drivers are side by side and you happen to bump doors just a little bit, well, hey, you know, you're just reminding them that you're there. With the track being also just under 1.5 miles long as well, these pace cars can seem eternally long on tracks like Kentucky. Daytona as well. All right, as we get ready for the pace car to head back into pit road and the green flag to fly one more time. And we've seen some extremely competitive racing from these guys so far, as we are just about to the halfway point of the race here as well tonight for the Bluegrass 84. So everyone is going to be looking to get their opportunities where they can as quickly as possible, as this race is going to wind down very, very quickly. I do have a feeling. As the pace car comes down into pit road, we are going to see that green flag fly here one more time, and we are going to go racing here once again, cross the checkered line. And here we go. Mike Schemio, Nick Reynolds, side by side. Practically a lot of the field is going to stay side by side for quite a while here. Michael Schemia doing as much as he can to try and get away from this field. Dustin Lee staying right on his tail in that number 18 machine. Dylan Hervatin in the 45, doing what he can to work his way into third. He's going to take the outside of the number 18 of Dustin Lee. He's going to challenge him for second place. Dylan Hervatin taking second like it's no one's business. Now he's challenging Michael Schemia for first. Dylan in the 45, working his way back into first place and doing absolutely fantastic work doing it. Looking like butter, working his way through that field. Dustin Lee going extremely wide here. That's going to cost him quite a bit of time here as the, whoa, we're getting a little squirrely there. Andrew Pratt in the 75, almost getting into the 33 of Darrell Whiteside there almost briefly. These guys duking it out all for the top 5 positions. Now this whole pack forming behind the 2 and out in front, who have managed to work their way, work themselves a gap away from this pack here. And look at that, you can see Dylan Hervatin actually working his way, getting extremely far from the rest of the field here. Andrew Pratt doing everything he can to try and work his way around the number 18 of Dustin Lee. He's going to be stuck on the outside at the moment. He's going to have Darrell Whiteside down on his inside. Darrell now worked his way up to 4th place now, up 10 positions from the restart. And he's actually doing fantastic work, working his way through the grid now. Actually got his way into 3rd place now, Darrell Whiteside. And still looking at Andrew Pratt here. He's going to be stuck now behind Dustin Lee. Andrew just sticking with it though. He's not letting anything kind of get in his way. He's just sticking with it and hoping that it works out for him. And right now it seems to be playing in his favor quite well. We come down the backstretch into turn 3. Right now Dustin Lee looks to be putting up a little bit of defense here as well. I know that I would be trying to do the same thing, especially when you are in 4th place, just about halfway, just over halfway through this race at this point. And these laps are ticking away rather quickly, about 30 seconds every lap or so that we're seeing at this point in time. For practically everyone at this point. Not in anyone's tires is extremely worn at this point in time, so everyone is still clicking off some pretty decent laps as we are on lap 28 of 56. So right now it's all just a game of who's going to really be on the charge here, who's going to want to put themselves on the podium and get themselves either a podium or a win tonight. And Dylan Hervatin seems to be the one that wants to take home the win. Darrell Whiteside definitely seems interested in getting on that podium, and Justin McMahon in that number 20 machine is now starting to work his way away from this rather large pack here that is forming behind him, but it's not exactly going to go away very easily. These guys are going to catch up to him, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on him very quickly. And the surprising thing is, too, how these cars are able to get away from one another once they're able to kind of break each other's dirty air. Speaking an example of Dylan Hervatin and Darrell Whiteside, just those two guys kind of just drafting one another, just sticking with one another, even though they are still technically battling. Just these two guys alone, just under their power alone, they're able to close. Between Dylan Hervatin and Justin McMahon, there is nearly 3 seconds of a gap between these guys. So these guys are going fairly quick with just the two of them, and I'm curious to know if this larger pack behind them would be able to catch up, even with 26 laps left to go here. Do I think they would be able to? Potentially. Do I think they have enough time? Yeah, they probably do. But do I think they're going to be able to do it here tonight? I don't think so. There's going to be a lot of battling going on. There's going to be a lot of duking it out there on track for positions, and I can't see people working together to try and catch the top two. I just don't see that happening. I think at this point, a lot of these guys are going to be thinking to themselves, well, they're gone. I don't even see them on the track anymore, so they're practically irrelevant from the driver's standpoint, from wherever you are on track, and it's just a matter of where you can place yourself. That's probably going to be the mentality of most of these drivers here, but 24 laps left to go here. There's still battles here on track. There's definitely a lot of people that are definitely probably gripping their wheels a little tight right now, trying to just stick with it. 24 laps might not seem like a lot, but got to remember, we're still clicking off about 30 seconds per lap here, and that's still quite a long time. And especially when you're driving a car going, we're seeing top speeds of about 180, yeah, low to mid 180. And yeah, I would definitely be a little sweaty after a race like this, where you have just constant side-by-side battles. You are constantly being put under pressure. It definitely puts a lot of thrill into oval racing, into racing in general. Oval racing is somewhere where you can get a lot of that side-by-side action lap after lap, and that's definitely something that we are seeing here with these Next Gen Cup. And right now, speaking of battles, Andrew Pratt, Dustin Lee, Randall Barnett, and Nick Reynolds all in this little four-piece here. Andrew Pratt down on the inside. Dustin Lee going a little wide there, it seems, but he's got a little bit more speed. Dustin Lee trying to get out in front of Andrew Pratt. He's going to be successful in doing so. Dustin Lee in that 18 has finally gotten his way around the 75 of Andrew Pratt. And I'm sure that was a very happy moment for the 18 of Dustin Lee. But Andrew Pratt, using the same tactics as Dustin Lee, Nick Reynolds are going to start the pit cycles here for tonight. And they are going to come in down into pit road and assumingly grab some tires, or some fuel rather. Because we don't need tires here, we just need fuel. These tires should be good enough for this race, the entirety of the race. You would just need fuel, as we are only running 50% fuel at the start of the race. So Dustin Lee, Nick Reynolds, Doug Solms, Andrew Williams, now Randall Barnett also starting their pit cycles. This is going to be quite interesting to see here what's going to happen for a lot of these guys. But we also got to remember that during the first caution, these guys had an opportunity to come down pit road, and whether it be to get some work banged out by the pit crew if they needed to, or if it was to maybe replace a tire if they really wanted to. Actually, I don't think you actually have any sets. You do have one extra set of tires here for the Next Gen Cup Thursday night series, so that is something you can take advantage of, but I don't think most drivers will. I think most are just going to want that fuel. But Dylan Hervatten, that I'm currently curious about here, and Darrell Whiteside in second place are, excuse me, the two drivers that I'm kind of curious to see if they're going to hold it out for the last 17 laps here. Their last pit lap was 18, and just trying to do numbers in my head, I don't know if they would be able to make it. They should technically be able to. I'm not exactly sure how much fuel they take, as I don't have access to that information, but I'm sure that's probably what they did, especially if they plan to be in this position that they're in now, which is first place and wanting to win. It's a good strategy to take. I'm sure other drivers attempted the same, as we saw a lot of other drivers coming down pit road as well. So Dylan Hervatten just seems to have quite the machine in the 45 tonight. as he has worked his way through this field just quite impressively, I have to say. Justin McMahon in third place now, and looking at the track map now as well, you can start to see the divide between the drivers due to the pit cycle. So we're going to start to see a lot of drivers start to get a little bit spread out here in the final 15 laps. And we'll see how long that holds as packs start to form and those packs start to pass the drivers who are on their lonesome. Just the same as Justin McMahon here in the number 20 machine. So very curious to see how this is going to play out here for all of these guys here tonight. But looking at Marvel Spearman in the number 91 machine, who's currently in fourth place, followed by the 56 of Adam Gardner. But if I'm not mistaken, so that is okay. I was a little confused for a moment. I apologize for that. That number couldn't be read to me for some reason. But Marvel Spearman was actually leading this pack here as Adam Gardner on the outside, up 22 positions from where he started tonight. Impressive work from Adam Gardner in that number 56 machine, as they are, a little bit of a bump and a grind there from the 91 and the 13 of Christopher Leftwich. Down there on the bottom, you also have Jonathan Jennings, also loosely following in this mix here. He's going to actually overtake the 91 of Marvel Spearman to work his way into fifth and then potentially stay there for the final 11 laps of the race. And it looks like here Marvel Spearman is going to come down pit road, as it would seem. So a lot of these guys here, they're kind of choosing different pit cycles here, different times to come in. It's all over the board here, according to my timing, where everyone decided to come in. So it's kind of hit or miss what the strategies are and who's doing what. But it looks like everyone doing exactly as they should. But right as I say that, Dylan Hervat in the 45 coming down into pit road with 10 laps left to go. That's going to give Darrell Whiteside an opportunity to lead the race. I'm not exactly certain whether or not he's going to stay in first place. I can't imagine that he will, given if Dylan came down pit road and he pitted the same time as Darrell here. Lap 18 was the last time they came in. I can't imagine that Darrell's going to want to stick it out here and try and, well, wing it, I guess you could say. But right as I say that, Darrell Whiteside crossing the yellow line, coming down into pit road. That's going to throw a wrench in the gears, as now Justin McMahon is going to be our leader now with 8 laps left to go. And he's going to be the only driver now on the field that has not come down pit road for since lap 18. So this is going to be interesting here for Justin McMahon. But right as I say that as well, he's coming down pit road. So a lot of these guys just kind of, I think they're paying attention to one another. They're seeing what everyone else is doing around them, their competitors, just to figure out, like, okay, all right, well, should I try and pit now? And kind of using that as a guide. And Justin might have even been holding it out a little bit too long. With 7 laps left to go, though, we will certainly find out. But Andrew Core in the number 16 machine, that the front end is completely completely demolished. I'm sure that car is not fun to drive at this time, and it's definitely going to be suffering from aero. But with 7 laps left to go here, Andrew doing everything he can, and Andrew coming down pit road now as well, as actually his last time was lap 20. I'm certain that that car is definitely just not handling the way that Andrew wants it to, and rightfully so. It looks like there's even a little bit of smoke coming out of that car. Could just be a lighting effect. There it is, folks. Dylan Hervatin working his way back into first place, and with no one seemingly around him. The only driver now following behind him, with a field of other drivers following behind them, is Darrell Whiteside, who actually has Nick Reynolds of the 54. Actually, excuse me, that's the 15 of Eddie Rivers, trying to prevent himself from being lapped by Darrell Whiteside here. As Darrell is also kind of going to be in his lonesome, taps into the wall. 5 laps left to go here. Definitely don't want to be seeing that here for any of these guys. But Nick Reynolds, who's in 3rd place, or rather was, has Andrew Pratt battling him out. And Andrew putting the works on him, able to work his way into 3rd place, and Nick Reynolds now finding himself in 4th with Kevin Thompson following closely behind now as well. 4 laps left to go here. As we cross the line, there are 3, and this race is going to wrap up extremely quickly. And these guys are finding it all over the track. I'm sure these guys are uncertain who is actually their competitor, and who they need to be fighting against. To an extent, I'm sure most drivers here probably have their relative timing up and can see all of that information at a glance. However, I am sure there are some guys that are not even paying attention to that information. And with 2 laps left to go here, Kevin Thompson, oh man, he's going to be in trouble. He's got Nick Reynolds down. Oh, he taps him down on his bumper. They go sideways. Oh, onto the front straight. Oh my gosh. These guys are trying to avoid this wreck here as we enter the final lap. Kevin Thompson being put out of contention right at the bleeding edge, and Andrew Pratt taking over 2nd place, chasing down that 45 with Jeff Martin in 3rd. As we come out of turn 3 and 4, we are going to see that checkered flag fly. Dylan Hervatin is going to take home the win for tonight for the Bluegrass 84 here with Doghouse Racing League for the Next Gen Cup Thursday night series. Andrew Pratt coming in 2nd place. Jeff Martin following in 3rd. Folks, I have to say that was a very interesting race from start to finish. Once the field had to come down pit road for their pit cycles, and it definitely threw a wrench in the gear for a lot of drivers, I think. And wow was right, Sean Thompson. A lot of very strange things happening here tonight, but it led to a lot of action, led to a lot of very creative driving from these guys here. But as we get ready to wrap things up here, our post-race results: Dylan Hervatin taking home the win with Andrew Pratt in 2nd and Jeff Martin in 3rd. we're going to get started with our post-race interviews here. And we are going to start with one Jeff Martin, if we can find him. Jeff, sir, can you read me?
Yes, sir.
Jeff, you had quite an interesting race tonight in that number 9 machine. It was an interesting race for everyone. I would say the first half of the race, once the green flag flew, after the pace car came in, we were side by side for a lot of these guys for quite a few laps, and the action was all over the place. It was almost impossible up here in the booth to keep up with everyone battling all over the place. And Jeff, having worked your way through the caution and through the pit cycles, taking home third place for the Bluegrass 84, how are you feeling right now, Jeff?
Oh no, it's great, man. I love Kentucky. In the trucks Tuesday, I finished second, but uh, I got tangled up with somebody earlier, and I only had like 10 seconds worth of damage, but it really slowed me down. So under that pit stop, I didn't take tires. I just got it fixed, and then when I came in for the green flag pit stop, I went ahead and took tires. And I think there's a lot of people that took tires when they pitted the first time, which hurt them. So happy with the way I played it. I wish I could have been up front more, but I kind of screwed that in the beginning.
Yeah, definitely seemed like the drivers out in front, Dylan Hervatin especially, once they were able to get away from the rest of the pack, from the rest of the field, it almost seemed like it was impossible to catch up to them. It just seemed like once they were in that clean air by themselves, it just just seemed like they were gone at that point. But Jeff, you made it work. You managed to stick with it and kept with the field, even after Kevin Thompson found himself involved in a wreck as well and caused a little bit of the rest of the field in the top 5 to kind of change things up a little bit at the last moment. But Jeff, before I let you go here and head out for tonight, is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home that you want to give a shout out to or thank before you head out?
No, just you guys for doing the broadcast, man. It's always fun when you get a broadcasted race and you get people to do a good job. And then my teammates at Southeast Motorsports, Nick, Andrew, Wesley, and Doug's not here tonight because his wife's in the hospital. But and we and Dustin Lee, we're just trying to make a good run of it, and hopefully that helped. I know I was fourth in points coming in, so maybe that helped a little bit.
It was absolutely thrilling watching you guys race here tonight, Jeff. And hopefully we can have a similar conversation going into next week, going into Atlanta Motor Speedway. Jeff, thank you for coming out here and having a chat with me out in the booth. I look forward to seeing you next week, and hopefully we can have this similar conversation one more time.
No problem. Atlanta's where I'm at. I love Atlanta.
Absolutely, Jeff. Have a great night.
Appreciate it. Go Dogs.
All right, everyone. Jeff Martin out of the booth, the number 9 machine, taking home third place tonight for the Bluegrass 84. Up next, Andrew Pratt coming in second place. Andrew, sir, do you have a read?
Oh, I got you loud and clear.
Andrew, we saw a lot of battles happening this entire race, especially in the beginning. Right at the start, we had drivers 2 wide, 3 wide, practically lap after lap, turn after turn. And once the pit cycle started, that started to fade away a little bit. But Andrew, you were able to find yourself in the right spot to take home second place right after Kevin Thompson was involved in a little bit of an incident there, and right at the last second as well. But you were right in the right spot, right time. Andrew, how are you feeling right now, taking home second for the Bluegrass 84?
Well, from starting 17th to second, I kind of count that as a win for us. So it was a good run. Had to be a little more aggressive than I wanted to be in the beginning, but I wanted to get that track position because it's just kind of a fight to the bottom here at Kentucky. It's hard to get anything going on the top side. You can kind of hold someone up, but it's hard to make that pass unless you have a little help behind you. So any chance I got to get below someone in 1 and 2, I pretty much took it as long as I wasn't gonna wreck both of us. So all in all, good run. Didn't mean to take 4 tires on that last pit stop. I wanted to do 2, but I guess it ended up being the right thing to do. So, but maybe if I took 2, I would have been a little closer to first place. But all in all, real happy. A lot of good racing with people there. Can't remember the numbers, but got stuck on the high side for about 5 laps and couldn't do anything. But it was a lot of good racing, so we're happy with it.
Absolutely, Andrew. Now, going forward into Atlanta Motor Speedway next week for the Georgia 86, how are you feeling about that? We've seen a lot of good racing here from the first week at Daytona and now here at the Bluegrass 84 in Kentucky. What are you expecting here for Atlanta?
I'm hoping to keep the momentum. We had a shot at Daytona up till the last second there, so both races we've been in the hunt for the victory. So uh, expected Atlanta to be a little more competitive, maybe not so much a fight for the bottom, and tire wear is probably definitely going to be a little more of a factor than it was tonight. It was still a pretty good factor tonight, but Atlanta's definitely known to shred your tires, so it should be a real fun race, and hoping we can do one spot better.
Awesome. Well, Andrew, it was great watching you here tonight, and congratulations on second place. Now, before I let you go here and celebrate, is there anyone at home, anyone watching the broadcast that you want to give a shout out to or thank before you head out?
Yeah, say hi to my mom and dad. I know they were watching, so hopefully we gave them something to cheer for, and say hi to my nephew Crosby. Hopefully he got to stay up and watch. And we painted the car orange for him 'cause that's his favorite color. So just want to say hi to them and love them.
Awesome, Andrew. Thank you for coming out here and chatting with me up in the booth. Great work tonight here at Bluegrass 84, and hopefully we can see you do the same thing next week at Atlanta.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you.
Absolutely, Andrew. Have a great night.
You too.
All right, folks, that was Andrew Pratt in the 75 out of the booth, taking home second place for tonight. Last but certainly not least, Dylan Hervaten, taking home first. Dylan, sir, do you have a read?
I got you guys. What's going on?
Dylan, it was absolutely thrilling watching you race here tonight. Dylan, where did you get the race fuel? Who sold you the jet fuel, and how are you able to work through this field so smoothly? It was absolutely thrilling watching that 45 just glide through the field. It was great.
Well, I work for an airport, so I just stole some from them. But no, in all honesty, no, this 45 was really tuned up good. I just kind of came in and ran a few practice laps, got the car hooked to the bottom, and that's all it really took. It's really just about when you're up front in these cars, just maneuvering the air around and trying to slow down the guys' runs from behind you. So that's all I was really doing, and nailing turn 3 and 4 was critical because that's where you could gain some time, and that would allow them to have to build some momentum to try to get back to you. And by the time that they got back to you, you were back in turn 3 and 4 again. So it all just worked out. 45 was running good tonight. I gotta thank Southern Airways Express for coming on board. I run them on my car pretty often. So Southern Airways Express, Mokulele Airlines, great partners to have, and happy to put them in victory lane.
Yeah, absolutely. It was awesome to watch that 45 here tonight. Now, taking the momentum forward going into next week at Atlanta, what are you expecting there? Are you expecting similar results, or is it going to be a little bit more of a challenge?
I think Atlanta is going to be a little tighter field because, like I said, turn 3 and 4, you had to get off the throttle, and Atlanta should be full throttle. Getting off the throttle can separate the field a lot because it just balances out somebody who can get back in the throttle sooner, or who can hit the corner better than the guy behind them. So that's all it really is. Atlanta should be, like I said, more tighter pack racing. So it'll be a little harder, but if you could just block the runs and slow down people's momentum, I mean, it's pretty much a given. Nail your pit stops and stuff. So
Absolutely. Well, Dylan, I gotta thank you for coming out here and having a chat with me in the booth. It was, like I said, it was great watching you here tonight, here at Kentucky. Before I let you go, though, and before I let you crack open one to celebrate, is there anyone at home, anyone watching the broadcast that you want to give a shout out to or thank before you head out tonight?
Yeah, I gotta thank, like I said, Southern Airways Express, Mokulele Airlines, Cessna Citations, Textron Aviation. Um, I always company flies some Cessna Caravans, so stole some jet fuel from them, put in this 45 car tonight, and tuned her up. I got to thank everybody at Dylan Herberton Racing. Me and my teammates, Richard Mendonça, Mason Thompson. We always work good together. They're not in this race, but I had Richard spotting for me in the year, so I got to thank him. And other than that should be all. And look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing you and that 45 again, and hopefully you can sneak in the jet fuel truck before everyone else shows up. But
I'm definitely gonna try. Don't you worry.
Thank you for coming out here and chat with me, Dylan. It was great having a word with you.
Yep. Thank you for putting on a broadcast, and like I said, hopefully we'll see you next week.
Absolutely, Dylan. Have a great night.
You too.
Alrighty, folks. That was Dylan Hervetten out of the booth, taking home first place in the number 45 machine, and that is going to conclude our race today for the Bluegrass 84 here at Kentucky Speedway. My name is Mason Heimbaugh, bringing you tonight's action with Team Goon Squad. I hope everyone has enjoyed, and if you did, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already so you can catch all of the action that we have here at Team Goon Squad 7 days a week. Again, thank you all for tuning in, and I hope to see you next week. Same time, same place at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Thank you all for watching, and see you next time.